Aging is a journey of transformation, a gradual peeling away of layers to reveal what truly matters. At 71, I have come to understand something profound. Solitude is not loneliness, it is peace. It is the quiet space where clarity emerges, where I can hear my own thoughts without the noise of expectations. I don't hate people, nor have I withdrawn from society in bitterness. In fact, I cherish the connections I've built over the years. But I have also learned that the most valuable relationship I will ever have is the one with myself. Solitude is not an escape from the world, it is an invitation to be fully present with who I am. When I was younger, socializing felt as natural as breathing. I thrived in the company of others, chasing validation, excitement, and shared experiences. But as the years passed, I found myself craving something different, a deeper sense of meaning. A slower, more intentional way of living. Now, I choose solitude not out of resentment but out of reverence for the wisdom and peace it brings. This is not a story of isolation, it is a journey toward fulfillment. A path where silence is no longer empty, but full of insight. A life where simplicity replaces the need for constant stimulation. And contentment comes not from external validation, but from within. If this resonates with you, if you, too, seek a life of clarity, purpose, and peace, I invite you to join me on this journey. Subscribe to Senior Life Unlocked, where I share my reflections, experiences, and lessons learned along the way. Together, we can embrace the beauty of aging with wisdom, gratitude, and a newfound appreciation for the richness of solitude. A lifetime of lessons, the evolution of socializing, the illusion of endless connections. When I was younger, I believed in the goodness of everyone. I thought relationships could be nurtured with enough effort, that kindness was always reciprocated, and that if I gave my best to people, they would do the same in return. Life had other plans. I have been let down by those I trusted, taken advantage of by people I tried to help, and left wondering why I misjudged certain relationships. At times, it felt unfair. After all, wasn't I doing what I was taught? Be kind, be generous, be there for others. But life has a way of revealing what we refuse to see. Not every battle is worth fighting, and not every connection is worth keeping. I once chased friendships, eager to be liked and included. I filled my calendar with gatherings, stretched myself thin trying to keep up, and mistook social busyness for fulfillment. I convinced myself that being surrounded by people meant I was truly living. But as the years passed, I began to see things differently. The noise of constant interaction had drowned out something essential, my own peace. Now, I understand the value of being selective. Time and energy are precious, and not everyone deserves unlimited access to them. The friendships that remain in my life today are those built on mutual respect, understanding, and effort from both sides. The burden of people-pleasing. In my youth, I equated generosity with self-sacrifice. I believed that being a good person meant always putting others first, even at the cost of my own well-being. It took decades to unlearn that lesson, to realize that self-care is not selfish, but necessary. I gave until I was empty, trying to meet expectations that were never truly mine. I stayed in relationships that drained me, held onto obligations that weighed me down, and confused endurance with strength. But eventually, I had to ask myself, why should I set myself on fire to keep others warm? The truth is, you cannot pour from an empty cup. And love, true love, whether in friendship or family, does not require exhaustion as proof of loyalty. Now, I focus on reciprocal relationships, ones where kindness flows both ways. If a connection drains me, I let it go without regret. I no longer feel the need to explain my boundaries, apologize for choosing my peace, or justify why I no longer entertain certain relationships. I have learned to say no without guilt, to prioritize my well-being over social obligation, and to recognize that genuine connections do not demand self-sacrifice. Aging has not made me cynical, it has made me intentional. And that, I believe, is the greatest gift of experience. The beauty of solitude, a shift in perspective. From noise to stillness. Happiness used to be loud. It was the sound of laughter at a crowded party, the thrill of an adventure, the rush of accomplishing something grand. It was being surrounded by people, engaging in constant conversation, and feeling the pulse of a fast-moving life. But now, happiness is quiet. It is sitting on my porch at dusk, watching the sun dip below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink. It is sipping a warm cup of tea in the gentle morning light. Listening to the birds greet the new day. It is the simple pleasure of reading a book without distraction, walking alone under the vastness of the sky, and feeling a deep sense of peace settle in my heart. Most importantly, happiness is the freedom to choose where my energy goes. It is the peace of knowing that I do not owe anyone my time unless I truly wish to give it. In solitude, I find clarity. I hear my own thoughts without interruption, and I embrace the stillness, free from the noise of expectation and obligation. The power of boundaries. Boundaries are not walls, they are acts of self-respect. They define what we accept, how we allocate our energy, and whom we allow into our space. They are the invisible lines that protect our peace and well-being. In my earlier years, I feared saying no. I thought declining an invitation made me a bad friend. That stepping back from draining relationships meant I was unkind. I believed that being available to everyone at all times was a sign of love and loyalty. But with time, I have learned that no is not rejection, it is protection. It is a word that safeguards our energy, allowing us to give our best to the things and people that truly matter. Boundaries are not about pushing people away. They are about creating space for relationships that nurture rather than deplete us. Now, I say no without guilt. I choose peace over obligation. I allow myself the grace to step back, to rest, to engage only in what aligns with my well-being. Quality over quantity in relationships. The friendships I hold dear now are fewer but deeper. These are the people who have walked with me through storms, who have celebrated my joys, and who accept me as I am, without conditions, without pretense. I no longer seek to collect acquaintances or maintain relationships that have run their course. I do not measure my life by the number of people in it, but by the quality of the connections I nurture. The older I get, the more I realize that solitude is not loneliness, it is a gift. A space where I can be fully myself, where I can reflect, heal, and grow. And when I do choose to share my time, it is with those who bring meaning, not just company. Because in the end, life is not about how many people we surround ourselves with. It is about the depth of the moments we share with the ones who truly matter. Why socializing feels different now. The emotional cost of superficial interactions. There was a time when socializing felt effortless. It was woven into the fabric of my daily life, family gatherings filled with laughter, work obligations that kept me engaged, casual meetups with friends. I moved through conversations easily, rarely stopping to question whether those interactions nourished me or simply filled space. Now, I see things differently. Not every conversation is worth having. Not every relationship is worth keeping. There is an emotional cost to engaging in exchanges that lack sincerity or depth. The small talk, the forced pleasantries, the surface-level connections that leave me feeling emptier than before, these no longer appeal to me. In my younger years, I may have tolerated them out of politeness, out of habit, but with time, I've realized that every interaction either gives energy or takes it away. And I have learned to protect my energy. Age has made me more discerning. I recognize the subtle manipulations, the expectations wrapped in the guise of friendship, the insincerities that once went unnoticed. I no longer feel the need to give my presence freely to spaces that drain me. Instead, I choose where I invest my time and energy, ensuring that my connections are genuine, not just convenient. Energy is a precious resource. Socializing requires energy, something I no longer have an endless supply of. Listening, empathizing, engaging in meaningful dialogue, it all takes effort. In my youth, I could move effortlessly from one gathering to the next, absorbing the constant flow of conversation without a second thought. But now, I understand my limits. I no longer equate a full social calendar with a full life. Instead, I've come to cherish the quiet moments, the solitude that replenishes me in a way that socializing no longer does. It is in stillness that I regain my strength. In silence that I hear my own thoughts clearly. This doesn't mean I have abandoned relationships. Far from it. It means I have redefined them. I no longer feel obligated to maintain every connection or attend every event. I choose quality over quantity. I prioritize interactions that feel meaningful rather than obligatory. Conversations that add depth to my life rather than deplete it. And in doing so, I have found a new kind of fulfillment, one that is rooted not in the number of people around me, but in the genuine connections that truly matter. The pandemic's lesson, embracing stillness. The pandemic forced the world to pause. The once busy streets emptied. The hum of daily life quieted. And for many, that silence was unsettling. We had spent years, even decades, moving at full speed, rushing from one task to another, filling our schedules, and convincing ourselves that busyness equaled purpose. But when everything slowed down, a strange thing happened. In the stillness, I found peace. For me, the pandemic was a paradoxical gift, a moment of clarity wrapped in uncertainty. As the world grew quieter, I began to hear my own thoughts more clearly. Without the usual noise, the social obligations, the constant demands, the distractions that once dictated my days, I was left with something rare: time to reflect. At first, the stillness felt unfamiliar, even uncomfortable, but over time, I realized it was something I had unknowingly craved. The absence of constant movement allowed me to see what truly mattered, to separate what was essential from what was merely habitual. I no longer feel the need to fill my days with unnecessary activity. I no longer measure my worth by how much I accomplish in a day or how many people I see. Instead, I embrace the freedom to choose where I invest my time, with whom I share my energy, and what truly adds value to my life. The pandemic served as a reminder that the pace of the world does not have to dictate the pace of my heart. I now move through life with greater intention, choosing quality over quantity, meaning over routine, and peace over pressure. And in this newfound stillness, I have discovered something invaluable: a life that feels full, even when it is quiet. Rediscovering what matters. Aging has a way of stripping away the unnecessary, peeling back the layers of expectation and distraction, leaving behind only what is essential. In my younger years, I chased after fleeting desires, achievements that once felt monumental, possessions that seemed important, relationships I held onto simply because they had history. But over time, I have learned that not everything is meant to be kept. I have stopped pursuing what does not fulfill me. I no longer seek approval from others, nor do I feel the need to prove my worth through endless striving. Instead, I have chosen to embrace a life that is simpler, more intentional, more authentic. I have let go of relationships that no longer bring me joy, connections that felt forced, friendships that required more effort than they gave in return. I have made peace with the fact that some people are meant to be part of our journey only for a season. And in doing so, I have created space for the relationships that truly matter, the ones built on mutual respect, deep understanding, and genuine love. True joy, I have found, does not come from grand accomplishments or material wealth. It is in the small, everyday moments that life reveals its deepest meaning. It is in the warmth of a hug from someone who truly cares, the taste of a favorite meal, prepared with love, the gentle morning light streaming through my window, filling my home with warmth and stillness, the sound of laughter shared with someone who understands me without words. These are the moments that truly matter. And now, in this stage of life, I no longer take them for granted. I savor them. I embrace them fully. Because, in the end, a meaningful life is not measured by how much we have, but by how deeply we appreciate what we already hold in our hearts. Conclusion. Living on my own terms. Some may see my solitude as withdrawal, but I see it as freedom. At 71, I no longer spend my days worrying about being understood by everyone. I have made peace with the fact that not everyone will see the world as I do, and that's okay. I have learned that true contentment does not come from pleasing others or meeting expectations, but from embracing life in a way that feels authentic to me. I do not hate people. I simply value peace over noise, depth over superficiality, and meaning over obligation. I cherish conversations that nourish the soul, relationships that bring mutual understanding, and moments of stillness where I can truly hear my own thoughts. I no longer force connections that drain me, nor do I seek validation from spaces that do not appreciate my presence. And in that choice, I have found my greatest joy, a life that is simpler, more intentional, and free from unnecessary distractions. If my journey resonates with you, if you, too, seek a life of clarity, purpose, and peace, I invite you to join me. Subscribe to Senior Life Unlocked, where I share my reflections, experiences, and insights on living fully, aging gracefully, and embracing the beauty of solitude. Together, let's celebrate this chapter of life with wisdom, gratitude, and the freedom to live on our own terms.